Welcome back. I'm Dr. James Patterson. In this short video lesson, I want to talk about research sources for your research papers in the junior and senior year at the universities. You are probably already familiar with the concept and definitions of primary sources versus secondary sources, but I want to go through them one more time specifically to discuss them in relation to the research paper writing you'll be asked to do as part of your junior and senior years at the university. Now, to review, a primary source is something produced by the first-person experience. A primary source is the product of first-person experience. Typically, we look at personal journals, letters, documents. We may look at lab reports based on laboratory or field experiments. We may look at interviews with individuals with first-hand experience. A primary source is produced by a first-person experience. A secondary source are reports that are based off of primary sources. So, a primary source is produced at the first-person experience level. Secondary sources are reports based upon primary sources. Now, typically, the secondary sources are going to be some newspaper and magazine articles. A lot of your web articles are secondary sources. The journalist who's writing the article or web article has gone to the primary sources and has pulled the primary sources together into his or her report for the newspaper, the magazine, or the web page. So when you're looking at websites, you want to be aware of what sources are being produced by the first-person experience and which are being put together by journalists who, like you, have done research and are writing about their research. Does that make sense? A journalist is not an expert in the field. A journalist is a researcher who does research and then writes the article for the newspaper, magazine, or web page, just like you, the student, are writing your paper for your professor. A lot of nonfiction books are secondary sources. Some nonfiction books are primary sources because they're written by the person with first-hand experience. And then a textbook is almost always a secondary source where the professor, the instructor, the writer of the textbook is pulling together research from a number of different sources to develop the textbook. Now, most of you are familiar with primary sources and secondary sources. I'd like to talk for just a second about what I call tertiary sources. These are the dictionaries and the general interest encyclopedia. When we're writing at the junior and senior level at the university, we are not taking information from dictionaries or encyclopedia, general encyclopedia. There are some specialized encyclopedias out there that are still acceptable at the junior and senior level. But your dictionaries and your general interest encyclopedias are not cited. We don't use them. They're a good place to get general information, but everything that's contained in a dictionary or an encyclopedia is considered common knowledge, and we do not cite common knowledge. Okay? So as you're putting together your sources, be aware of what's primary, what's secondary, and what you should avoid because it's tertiary. Thanks.